just gain too much fat, your testosterone levels automatically go down if you're carrying too much fat. So that's a mistake. And I think the other one obviously is hurting the bank account more than anything, is focusing on supplements first and the stuff that's going to make a difference.
Dude, you can swear all the fuck you want.
Okay. I want to work on keeping it to a minimum.
It's okay. You're all good with me. All right, Chad, I'm pumped to be able to get into this with you. We're going to be talking a lot about the man diet right now. I had the huge pleasure of meeting you, last week, the week before that, down in Tampa, Florida. That was fantastic. So before we even start jumping into everything man diet, who is Chad Howse and why are you so phenomenal?
Wow. Who am I? Well, I help guys get in shape online pretty much. But with it seems like looking around at your stuff and talking to you, it seems like fitness can't be the only focus for you.
Yeah.
So same with me. It can't be the only focus. I don't love fitness.
I get bored.
Yeah. Well, you're a human, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the stuff is talking about fitness. I've got other stuff. I've got a book coming out in a few months, probably 6 months, called The Lost Art of Discipline. So that is a different kind of take. So I'm just a guy who helps guys get in shape online, but as a foundation for other things, probably.
I love that. And I think that's why we vibe so well, because there were so many things we were just like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? It was like, where have you been in my life? This is crazy. And I've kind of boiled it down into the body side of things, the fitness, the getting in shape. That's initially taking care of the ego at the very start. Everybody wants to look better, feel better, do you know what I mean? Because it makes your ego feel better. And that's all cool. I've definitely been there. But you get to a point where you're like, I don't really give a shit anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with my body. Maybe I do want to get in better shape, but I want to be a better husband, a better father, a better entrepreneur, a better person, a better man. And I think that's why I'm so happy with the work that you're doing and why I really want to showcase this stuff as well. Even just before we hit record, you were like, look, the man diet's not a fad diet. Do you know what I mean? It's very a balanced, if I can say that, type of diet. And I'm like, that's hilarious, because that's what I found just works for me naturally as well. If I try and do super low carb and try and go keto, I feel like crap and I actually don't get in great shape. The last time I did that, I saw myself getting really soft. If I try and go really high carb, I'm just going to get fat and I feel really tired and sluggish as well. So when it comes to you and designing what is now the man diet, how did you actually come about to that?
So I didn't go into it with a desire to prove something. I had actually created the man diet, the digital version years ago. I'll put that hat up a bit. Digital version years ago, and it was low carb. So it was low carb, super high fat, and based on what I knew at the time, that's what I prescribed. So then I wanted to rewrite it and kind of go into the research a bit more and see what I found and based on what works with me too. So I've tried low carb. I haven't tried high carb because I don't want to. I've tried super high protein, lower the protein, because there's a lot of research out there that says low protein's better for testosterone.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm just not the body composition is pretty important for testosterone as well. And if I go low protein, my body composition gets all messed up, carry too much fat and estrogen hides itself in fat, body fat. So stepping back, looking at everything, I came up with a pretty logical diet. But it's called the man diet too, because you have to take into account that guys want to eat certain foods.
Yes.
We want to eat a certain way. We want to enjoy, for me, I want to enjoy my fats. I really want to enjoy them. So I just had elk sausages with 6 eggs and just enjoyed the hell out of it. So then my carbs meal, I want to enjoy carbs. So I'm going to have something that's probably potatoes and a bit of meat. You know what I mean? So keeping it in mind that guys want to eat certain foods, that's how I structured everything as well. So just
really good point. I think you absolutely nailed that, Chad, because it's the physiological and the psychological. Like, how do we want to operate? We can't just have a diet. And this is where I feel like so many diets go wrong, is because they just try and look at the physiological side of things, but they forget that it's a human being behind it trying to actually execute on this diet at the end of the day as well. Yeah. And that's the exact thing. Like, I want to be able to enjoy my foods. I want to be able to eat the foods that just make me happy on a day-to-day basis. And if I start feeling deprived, I flip the switch and I go the other way. Like, I'll run through Whole Foods and eat everything absolutely possible that I can get my hands on as well. When it comes to protein, like, I think we should talk to that, because there is a lot of like pendulum swinging at the moment. And I find I thrive much better on higher protein. People are always asking me like, what's your diet, Chris? I'm like, no, well, this is for me, but I'm like, I do eat high protein compared to a lot of other people. I started to feel bad about that, and I was like, oh, should I lower it down? But one, I actually enjoy eating meat. It satisfies me as well. And then actually looking into, say, Ayurvedic medicine, I'm a pitta type, which means I thrive much better on meat. I actually have that digestive fire that wants to churn through that stuff, and I feel good off it. So it kind of made me feel better to justify the way that I enjoy eating as well. Yeah. So when it comes to like your history, Chad, of like the diets that you've gone through, because I feel like we've gone through like a similar process, what's that kind of journey been for yourself?
So as a kid, or not as a kid, as a young man in the late teens, early 20s, I was eating just a lot of bread, grew up, my mom's Italian, so I grew up with a lot of pasta. I'm not willing to give up pasta. I'm willing to give up bread because it make me feel great. Yeah. But to a degree, I like hamburgers, so I'll keep hamburgers going. But I was very like, I don't know, eat a lot of protein, eat a lot of bread, carbs and stuff like that. Didn't really know. I actually didn't know that much about testosterone or anything, so I didn't eat very much fat at all. Yeah. And then got into learning more about testosterone. Obviously, testosterone comes from, the process starts in your brain, but we convert it to testosterone in our testes by converting cholesterol into testosterone. So we need cholesterol in our diet to have testosterone. So I took that idea and then ran with it and had tons of eggs, tons of bacon, all this stuff, lowered the carb intake. Energy felt great, but the body just kind of got a bit sloppy. So, and then after that, more to a balance, keep the protein high, keep the carbs relatively high, and keep the fats relatively high. Now,
this is really good. I'm really enjoying this. When it comes to giving people like context, when you say protein high or low or carbs low or whatever, can you give kind of guidelines for the listener right now, just so they kind of know gram wise, percentage wise, whatever it is, they've got a ballpark to play with?
Yeah. So you go off how many calories you like for testosterone, technically, like within the man diet, we're trying to get you to a caloric maintenance as often as possible.
Yes.
So like, you don't want to stay at a caloric deficit for too long, because then your cortisol levels will increase. So we get you, if body fat is your main enemy, then you got to go on a caloric deficit for a bit, but then we get you back up to a maintenance. Yeah. So you figure out your maintenance level, and we do a 30% of your calories coming from protein, which is pretty high, 35 and 35 from carbs and fats. So it's really, really balanced. And it's just, I don't know, it works for me and it works for most guys, I feel.
Where do you feel like it doesn't work? Because obviously, like, no diet works for absolutely everybody, but you're giving some really guiding principles, which I think is key. Where do you think it doesn't work? Like, if you had to be really critical with it.
So, I don't mind some of the fad stuff. I don't mind. Like, if it works for you, like there's this carnivore diet and they only eat meat. I actually kind of like the idea of it. When some people can break down the science and really convince you of this stuff, right? And if it works for you, do it. Yes. Like, if that's really what you want to do and it works for you, then like do that thing. But if you're dabbling here and there, do the balanced approach. You know, like if you want to be on a keto diet, but you're not getting to that state because you're eating too many carbs or whatever, then just don't do it. If you don't feel that great on it, don't do it and follow a more balanced approach.
Well said. Well said. So I think that one of the biggest problems is people are jumping from one diet to the other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go from one
You got to
thing,
do something that's sustainable.
too many cooks in the kitchen, you're not going to get the job done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, when it comes to testosterone, if we maybe jump into the weeds a little bit more in this stuff, why are you seeing, on a broad stroke spectrum, why are you seeing guys with lower testosterone?
So there's one study that studied this. It's out of Massachusetts. It said there's a decline of 1.2 to 1.3% across all ages of men. Basically, men are like getting less manly, according to this study, which is pretty crazy. Like, you'd think it would be studied more. If this one study found it, they did it over a period of like decades,
Yeah.
and they found that there's like a legit decline in testosterone. So if this is true, why aren't we studying it more? Like, testosterone is our most important hormone.
Yeah.
You know, like, it boggles my mind. But so we have to take this study as truth if we're gonna like treat it seriously, right? So you got to look at generations, what's different. You can go, I think a big one is I had a call with Christopher Walker is a good guy to talk to about testosterone as well.
Yeah.
So we talked about this same topic, and it looks like plastics are everywhere.
Yeah.
They've got insanely horrible chemical estrogens. We got pesticides on a lot of our food. So a lot of the things that we've created to make life easier, to even feed a mass amount of people, like the GMOs and all that stuff, we need it to feed everyone, right? We need to produce this food. But in the pesticides and in the plastics, that's like the difference between our grandfathers and us, right? That's one of the main differences.
Yeah.
So you don't want to freak out, and you can't avoid plastics everywhere. I got plastics in this, probably in my hat. You want to remove it from at least the stuff you're carrying your food in, your water in, or heating your food in as well. The other thing is that they were much more local farming back then.
Yeah.
You know, they get their foods from local sources. They'd also do like fix their own shit, or like go for walks. Like, the neighbors were neighbors. Like, you knew your neighbor's names. So they're up and they're active a lot more. They did have diets that were higher in fats. So that could have been something. We went really low fat for a while. And then these like weird chemicals that we put in our food weren't existing back then. So
that's really important. I tell you what, with the nutrition training stuff, let's just put that on the side. What you just brought up, I think is really important. They were doing shit, as in moving their bodies, and they were having a community around them.
Yeah.
You talk to those two things, because I feel like they're factors that not a lot of people are talking to, but yet which proven is such important elements in a healthy, long life.
Yeah. So there's a good book. I hope I can. Yeah, here. This book's an awesome book. So it's called The Depression Cure.
Yeah.
And it pretty much aligns with testosterone. So they looked at depression in hunter-gatherer societies or civilizations or whatever. They still exist in our world, in Papua New Guinea and in Africa and all these different places. I think in Australia as well.
Yeah, the Aborigines.
So they looked at depression over a span of 10 years in hunter-gatherer societies or whatever. And they found 0 cases in all these different areas. So they started looking at a few things. Diet. They had a higher fat, higher omega-3 ratio in their diet. They hunted. So they were hunting wild game. They had real animals, not the mass-produced animals that are fed antibiotics and whatever. Even though, like, animals are still good to eat if they're mass-produced and stuff, but the wild game version is like obviously way better.
Yeah. And then I a pound of bison last night, and it was so good. Like, I was just like, especially because, like, do you know what I mean? I've just gotten to America recently, and so I'm making the absolute most of it. And I was like, this is so good. Like, I could not get enough. Sorry, keep going. It's just
no. That's fine. Me and my girlfriend, we're going to a place on Sunday it's in Banff. It's like our ski thing in the Rockies, and so you get elk, bison, deer, gator, like all these random different animals, and they're all right there on the plate for you. So anyway, back to that book. They looked at so diet, they looked at lifestyle, they're walking. They had never seen technology before. They're literally, and they're shredded. Yeah. Their body fat percentages are null and void. So they're out walking, like hunting. They hunt with bows. So they're, and like not compound bows, like these bows they make. Yeah. So they have to get close to the animals. It's a real like event when they catch an animal, and then they share the meat with the whole tribe, right? Like one person has a baby, the whole tribe's taking care of it. The interaction, they're real communities. And I think humans need relationships. Coming from a guy who works in his basement and spends hours upon hours in his basement, or
dude, like I will say exactly that. I'll come on next year, because the thing is, I did an interview with Mary Schnau just a couple of days at her place here in LA, and I said to her, I go, you know what? I have not had enough fun recently. I've been too work, yeah. Like sitting in my home office, and like, it's fantastic that we have the pleasure and freedom to work wherever we want. And that's where we work. But at the same time, it's very lonely, and that's not a good thing. Because as you said, one of the main things that these people are thriving is they're in that community aspect.
Yeah. No, I'm in my office all day, every day. If I didn't have a dog, I wouldn't see other humans like at all. So yeah, I'm craving like even hiking. I haven't done it. Like you get in these modes where they're necessary, where you're working like 16, 18 hour days, like long days when you've got a lot going on. But then you get in moments of clarity where you're working only on the things that matter, and your work days shorten and your productivity increases and your income goes up. Yes. So I'm moving into one of those, and I was just in one of the put your head down and work for like 5-6 months nonstop. So I need to get outside again.
Okay, good boy. Let's get to outside. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the biggest mistakes guys are making right now, what would be like the top 3 that you see guys are just continually falling short on, and therefore ruining their health, their physique, and just day-to-day wellness?
Mistakes. One of the things is like, if guys want to gain muscle, they go on bulking protocols. Like just gain too much fat, your testosterone levels automatically go down if you're carrying too much fat. So that's a mistake. And I think the other one obviously is hurting the bank account more than anything, is focusing on supplements first and the stuff that's going to make a difference second. So supplements, like one of the biggest things you can do is get your micronutrients tested. Make sure you've got enough zinc and magnesium and selenium and all these boron, all these different nutrients that help testosterone. Yeah. But the big things are going to be your getting 8 hours of sleep, getting your body fat down. So it's really focusing on the things that are going to move the needle, not the things that are going to, hurt your bank account. So leave it.
Okay, so let's say what symptoms are you looking at when it comes to a guy that might have low testosterone? Like if you could run through a bit of a list now where the listener could be like, oh shit, you know what? Maybe I'm having this problem.
The biggest is the boner in the morning. Like you want to wake up with morning wood. That's huge. Like sexual health is like the prime, identifier of low libido and low testosterone, right? Because testosterone is so closely tied in with your libido. Yeah. Other than that, like if you're getting less than 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, then your cortisol levels are likely too high. Like I used to, that Arnold Schwarzenegger gave this, he's got a motivational video out there. He's like, if you sleep 6 hours and then you've got more 18 hours to work, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's got that video. I heard that video. I'm like, yeah, screw this. Like even I read a Donald Trump book. He sleeps 4 hours a night. Yeah. Like I've read all these like different books of guys. They sleep like, these are different humans, right? Like they're different humans that they can thrive doing this. Arnold was also taking steroids his whole entire life. So he didn't really need testosterone at that point, but the 8 hours of sleep is insanely important. You're going to have a better quality of work. You're going to have a better quality of life, and you're going to take care of like one of testosterone's main enemies, which is cortisol. And then the body fat thing, if you're above 15%, got to get below 15%. The 14% or below, get below that. If you have those, if any of those 3 things are showing themselves in your life, then you got to make a change.
I love that. Okay, so get below 15% body fat, get at least 8 hours of sleep, make sure you're waking up with a good boner in the morning.
Exactly.
3 factors. Okay, that's really funny because I've become a real stickler when it comes to my sleep. Like it used to be like 6 to 7 hours and a little bit here and there, and like even having 2 daughters. But now, like especially my nighttime routine is where I have to be strict and disciplined on, and I always thrive the next day if I do. If I don't, I have a really shitty sleep. That's really interesting. Okay, that's good. So we've gone through major mistakes. We've gone through what the symptoms like. We've gone through the diet. We've gone through even community aspect. What about training?
So training, so I have a workout called the Testosterone Workout.
Yeah.
But it's basically like you look at working out has 2 aspects to it. One, you're going to get a surge from doing certain exercises, and you want these fluctuations. Like men get surges in testosterone when we like make a lot of money. We get surges in testosterone when we compete, when we win, when we fight, do all this stuff. You want these surges. You want this ability to have these surges in testosterone, but then you want your baselines to be high as well.
Yes.
So from a training aspect, things like Olympic lifts, plyometrics, and sprints are going to give you a nice surge, as well as heavier compound lifts like squats and deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
So you want those surges, but you also want a good foundation of muscle, so it's going to be easier to stay lean. And there was one study at the University of Alabama. They did the best study of pitting strength training versus like higher rep endurance training for fat loss. So strength training really helps you stay lean. It really helps you burn fat. And you want, especially if you're a man, if you're a woman, you want this as well. But guys, you want some muscle on your frame just because it allows you to do the stuff you want to do. Like we talked about fitness as like a foundation. If you want fitness as a foundation for a better life, you got to have the ability to be able to do the adventures, to be able to do the hiking, the hunting, the whatever you want to do. Fitness has to feed that. And so you want to really focus on strength. So from a training aspect, strength with a healthy addition of Olympic lifts, plyometrics, and sprints.
Okay, I love that. Is there any guidelines that you're working off, such as how many times somebody should be training in a week, how long the session should be, or any kind of like those factors into the program design?
So I like the DUT method, the daily undulating periodization. So you go from a 5-day split to 4-day split. Sometimes you're on a 3-day split. I like that fluctuation. Okay. As far as hormones, you just don't want to, I don't know do you think overtraining is a myth, or do you think it's a legit thing?
I think it's under recovery, but yeah. I think it's definitely true because I've been there, as in like I've just trained like twice a day, every day for ages, and I end up just being like, what am I doing? And then when you actually go through that rest to then super compensate, that's when you get leaner, harder, bigger. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that recovery stuff's actually really needed. Like that, we're just making that stuff up. But I guess it depends as well as to, I think, the person's psyche. Is the person actually there ready to walk into the gym and get moving? Like at the moment, do you know what I mean? Like Gold's Gym Venice is literally like a 2-minute bike ride away from me. I just trained earlier before. Like you walk in, like you don't need a pre-workout. You walk in, you're looking around at all these people. You're like, all right, it's go time. Like let's just get the job done. So I think that's where it's at. Yeah.
And so like from an overtraining standpoint, you don't want to like wear your body down to where your cortisol levels or stress levels.
Exactly.
So from that, you want to be in the 4 to 5 day range max, and you want those at least 2 days. But the caveat is you don't want to sit on your ass on your rest days. You want to get up and get moving. You want, like, being active has been shown to really help testosterone levels. So just being an active person and going for walks, hikes, bike rides, anything is really important.
I am such a big fan of walking. It's ridiculous. Like people laugh at me all the time, but honestly, I want to get at least an hour of walking in a day, especially because, and like, I know you can write, we're sitting here at this bloody desk. Do you know what I mean? For way too long. And it's shown it's worse if you sit at a desk and then think you're going to train for like 1 hour compared to, say, constantly moving, or somebody that's got more of a manual labor job as well. So I think just getting up and moving more often is better. And for my brain, because if I'm sitting here like maybe working on a task or writing for too long, I go a bit mush and I kind of like lose focus. So I kind of need to get up, move around, come back and get back into it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I just start working on things that I should not be working on.
Totally get distracted.
Just for the sake, you're just like hitting the keyboard. Like, what the hell did I just put on? Like, that's not even my opinion. Like, I'm just,
Okay, good. So when it comes to the man diet right now, who is it for? Who is it not for? Like, who should get this right now?
It's for guys. It's simple. I don't see a group of guys who. Oh, yeah, vegetarians. I don't like if you. I'm pretty high on meat. I think it's really important. I think it's like the most. Like, you get the zinc, you get like potassium, you get a lot of these powerful nutrients, protein, fats that are really important for your body. And I really think that meat is really important. Just like everyone knows that vegetables are very important. But I think meat's really important too. I think you need them both. So if you're not willing to have both of them, it's probably not the diet for you. If you really want a low carb, zero carb diet, probably not the diet for you as well. But other than that, it's for guys who just want to have more energy, who want to get their body fat down, who want to, build more muscle and really experience the benefits from living. It's not just about diet. It's, we go into lifestyle as well a lot. So we talk about the studies about being successful. We talk about, and you said your evening routine is really important to you. So we talk about shutting the workday down at a certain hour and then how to wind down from that so you can prepare yourself to get a better sleep and get more work done in the workday as well. So
yes,
it's for guys, ambitious guys who want a little bit more than the average life or the whatever monotonous or whatever you want to call it.
So I highly recommend it. You gave me a copy when we saw each other, and I think it's fantastic. I think the really important thing is, like what you said to before, if somebody wants to do a low carb diet, there's a good chance everybody that's watching us right now and tuning in probably tried it and probably not super happy with the results at the end of the day as well. And it's always funny how the pendulum, do you know what I mean? We kind of go off on this fad and then we go off on this one and then it kind of comes back into the middle and go, oh, this is actually what's working. And it's hilarious because that keeps happening to me. Do you know what I mean? Whenever I keep like going, oh, maybe I really want to try this and I'll experiment with a certain diet or training regime or whatever. It can be good and I'll see some results and I'll get some experimentation and some feedback from it. But then I always find myself coming back to this center line and being like, oh, this is my happy medium that I can actually be a good human being at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've done the same thing as you, as we just talked about.
Back and forth. No, I love it. So what I'll do is I'm going to pop a link below so everyone can get an actual copy of the Man Diet right now. What's the last word? What's the one thing you want the listener right now to take action on from today?
Well, don't forget that I'm giving it away for free. You just cover shipping. So it's like, you don't have to buy the book. You just cover shipping costs. And it's not, the shipping costs aren't high. So let's mention that.
All right, let's do that. Get the free book. Just pay shipping. You'll be an absolute peanut if you don't do it.
But then taking action on is probably, we talked about a little bit more or for a little bit is being more active and interactive. So get up there, get out there and talk to humans a little bit more. And I'll take that advice as well.
We'll all take that advice right now. Yeah. Beautiful. Chad, thank you so much for taking the time out, mate. I absolutely love your work. You're doing brilliant stuff. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to chatting soon.
Thanks a lot.
This is where I want to make sure that you get the most out of being here, and I want to hear from you. So if you've enjoyed this episode, click like and make sure I can send you the new episodes each and every week. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, I really want to make sure that I'm giving you exactly what you need. So comment below. I want to know what you're going to take away from this episode. And the best conversations after every episode always happen in the Breaking Success Tribe. I'll pop a link below for you to join the free group so you get access to the guides, the live streams. I'm in there answering your questions personally each and every day. Plus you get all the episodes as well. So thank you so much for being here and joining us. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next episode.